Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Planet Crypto, and we're just going to be doing general market news today. So we're going to start out with a little market recap, and we are going to go with Bitcoin. So right now we are at 8,500-ish, and Ethereum right just a little bit above 700. So what I'm doing right now is I think Bitcoin has some pretty significant resistance at that 9,000 level, because right last week that 9,000 level was our support, and then once we break through it, the roles are reversed. Right, we were able to get up to 10,000, but then we were bouncing off that, so that was a resistance up there. As far as support right now goes, I think there's some heavy support in the 8,200 to 8,300 range, and we'll see what happens. Of course, right now consensus is happening in New York, which is the largest conference for all things blockchain. A lot of people think that it's going to kind of ignite the next bull run, but for me, not so much. I think it will be still, another month or two out, maybe even a little longer, because we need more adoption and we need more main nets to come out. We need a lot of people to really showcase the value that they're creating, instead of having that crazy speculative melt up that we had back in January. So I'm okay with the bull run holding off for now and waiting a few months until everything kind of gets a little more set, better wallets, and more people using it ubiquitously. Okay, so we've got the first news out of Japan. So we have Mitsubishi Corporation, and we have subsidiary banks underneath Mitsubishi, and they are trialing cross-border payment using RippleNet. So that's cool. It's going between Thailand, Singapore, and of course Japan. Now they are just using RippleNet from what I can glean from this article, but they are not using XRP token. We do not know if they're using XRP token right now. And that is due to a lot of volatility. A lot of the banks are not trialing with XRP token. They're just using RippleNet right now because they have very conservative banking policies that they need to follow. So that makes sense. Next up, we have Amazon getting into a little bit of the blockchain. So a little sensationalism with the headline, but it's actually Amazon's taking a step in the blockchain, yes, but it's more Amazon's web service, and they are partnering with a startup called Kaleido. And this is a brand new startup, and it's a software as a service blockchain company. So what they're going to allow is AWS is going to basically be offering easy to build, easy to manage blockchain creation through Kaleido. So, a little in between intermediary thing. And the reason for, headline news is really the Kaleido network is actually built upon the Ethereum network as their backend. So therefore, we're getting more exposure in that space, which is great. AWS will be offering it to, a host of different people. But one of the things that I want to focus on is that, it's a good step. They're getting their feet wet. Amazon's getting their feet wet blockchain. But what's happening really seems like they're just trying to offer another product and service, and they're trying to be the shovel salesmen in the next gold rush. So everyone kind of knows, these big companies know that there's going to be the next gold rush, more bull runs and everything like that. But they're really positioning themselves to be the shovel salesman in it. So I get it from a standpoint of their business. If they were to start accepting crypto and really kind of going heavily into it, it would be an accounting nightmare. I come from finance. I'm a financial analyst. Of course, this isn't financial advice, though. And one of the biggest nightmares in any company is hedging in foreign currencies. It's just a huge problem because there's so many variables. I mean, it is literally the most hated thing by all financial analysts wherever you go. If you talk to them about hedging, they're going to moan. And if any of these really big companies decided to start accepting cryptocurrencies, I think the accounting department would really just start lighting everything on fire, because no one wants to deal with that headache. And what would need to really happen is for Amazon or any of these other big companies to start developing software to make it easier to account for cryptocurrencies. But of course, they have the capabilities and the know-how to do it. So, hopefully kudos on them in the coming months that they really get in and go full bore with this. Next up, we have a little sensational news again. Nasdaq powered cryptocurrency exchange platform launching in June. So originally I saw that, I was like, oh, whoa, we had last week Nasdaq saying that they were open to becoming a cryptocurrency exchange by the CEO. And now we've got them launching a platform, but really it's this DX exchange. And so what they're doing is it's just a project that's launching an exchange, and that exchange is using a product of Nasdaq, which is their software. So Nasdaq has software, right? Nasdaq is a company, a tech company, most notable for the exchange in the United States, but they sell their software to 70 different markets, ranging all over the world. So they're actually selling that. It's not a partnership. It's more of a client relationship that they have going, of course. And so with that, it was interesting. I wanted to learn more. But before I go into a little more and some hidden gems that I found, just take a look at this promo video. It's pretty funny. It's like we're announcing, that this summer's blockbuster hit for action movies with this kind of music. So I mean, I get what they're going for, but that music is that music. So anyways, though, so when you're looking at Nasdaq and seeing some of their products and services, hitting the learn more, it takes you to more of their business framework and what they're doing for their clients. You see blockchain. That's amazing to me. I knew that they're probably getting in the space. I know that many companies, they're not just sitting on their hands. They're actively looking at how they can profit from this. And they're no stranger to commissions and exchanges. When you have your Nasdaq, you have TD Ameritrade, E-Trade. No one's just twiddling their thumbs. They're working to get into this because there's a ton of money to be made, as been shown with Coinbase, Gemini, and a bunch of other exchanges. So they're trying to position themselves in to get that product out there. But it was great to be able to see that, they're already offering these technologies to their clients who are coming to them. I mean, that's huge. They're paving the way for this. And in terms of more paving the way, Coinbase today announced their suite of institutional products. So following right in that same path, right, they're blazing the trail for this institutional money to come in, which is a huge step for us. And they created custodian accounts with the SEC regulated broker dealers and companies. So this is pretty much like them getting the seal of the SEC to go ahead and welcome in these large investors, because now they have proven, they have the safest storage. They've done everything legally and by the book that the SEC wants to see. And the SEC, of course, in the United States is the Securities Exchange Commission, and they are essentially the gatekeepers for anything considered, security, or these large firms that are making investments have to abide by their rules. So they're also giving them pretty much white glove treatment, auditing, reporting, everything built in to have these institutional investors come in, really feel cared for, and hold their hand in this kind of new space. And that's an amazing thing that we have going. They also are opening an office in Chicago right now. And so Chicago is actually the largest place for futures and options trading in the US. And that's because of the CME group, and that's the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And so that's been around for a very long time in the United States. And so opening up an office there really, solidifies them as one of the top exchanges in this market. And of course, right, they're putting in the work, and they're going to get the rewards. One other thing they were reiterating in this article and here was the over-the-counter. I don't think it was there. Maybe it was in here somewhere. But the over-the-counter tradings, right? So there's going to be a lot of large buys from institutions and everything, and they'll agree on a price, but they're not going to be trading on GDAX where there's a bid and ask, and then you see those huge green candles. That's not going to be probably the case with these large institutional investors, as what they're going to be do is over-the-counter buys, and those do not affect the bid and ask price. So other than that, let's move on to some news out of Consensus. So here's one thing that I really wanted to touch on. So we have FedEx CEO. He was actually speaking at Consensus today, and he's been a proponent of blockchain, and he was reaffirming that, hey, this technology is going to revolutionize the industry, and because it removes a lot of friction for them as a logistics company, and these different regulations and jurisdictions that they have to go through, and helping to standardize things is always going to be a huge thing to just cut down on all the red tape that's in so many companies. And I've always believed that, for blockchain, currency, and really the supply chain and logistics, those are like the low-hanging fruit. Those are the valuable products that, we really should see probably be the first things come out in this market. And so that's great that they're doing it. But the thing is that they're trialing it on their freight right now. So they're using it in their freight systems. But they didn't mention a coin or particular blockchain that they were using. So more than likely they have proprietary blockchain. So one that they created themselves, which right inherently, yes, it's better than the technology they had, but we're getting away from the point of decentralization and distribution and how safe that is. Because we don't want more targets and Equifax hacks where people's data is getting, sold off to the highest bidder or whatever. I mean, these companies need to be more accountable for their security protocols. And if they're not going to be, then they need to move to a system like a blockchain where there's no one single point of failure. So they could be using IBM's Hyperledger blockchain. And I mean, who knows at this point, but I'm pretty sure that they're using a private blockchain essentially. So, right, step in the right direction, but hey, keep saying that. And then let's end on a good note. So here's something really cool. This was posted on Reddit. Apparently, there was a standardized testing being done in the Netherlands. So all Dutch high school students around 17, 18 years old had to take this mathematics exam. And on the mathematics exam, one of the problems, and it was a pretty in-depth problem, and here's the actual translation from Dutch to English. It was Bitcoin, and it had a bunch of problems on it, like when Bitcoin would exceed 18 million in circulation, and when what year the block reward would be less than 1, using all these variety of functions. And that's really awesome because these tests are made probably a year or maybe even 2 years ago, right? These aren't just made on the spot. So really valuing that, like what kids are interested in and putting into the tests is huge. And so that's, there's quite a number of people. There's at least a few 100,000 kids who took this test. And it's great to see that, come out in the real world and kind of being adopted in a different form or way other than like using it as a currency. So that's all the news I have today. Thanks for joining me. And as always, this isn't financial advice. I hope to see you soon.